So this morning, I opened my laptop, literally on my lap, and watched a recap of last night's Monday Night Football game, which I'd missed. I was sitting in a very quiet room with my hearing aids in, and I could hear the commentary just fine, without relying on the closed captions. Less than 2 weeks away from my implant surgery, a thought crossed my mind that hadn't been there for quite a while. I make do with these hearing aids okay. Do I really need to go through with this whole cochlear implant thing? Hi, I'm Vince Werner, and today I'm going to talk about creeping doubt about my upcoming surgery. Is it just last-minute jitters, buyer's remorse, fear of the unknown, a valid concern, or is it all of the above? Yesterday, some old friends invited me to join them for lunch. 4 of us old guys sitting close around a foretop in a spacious, not too crowded restaurant, sharing old stories about our days in broadcast production and music. 2 of my buddies are veteran DJs from the heyday of rock radio, and the other, my old business partner, who spent much of the early 80s as a drummer in a touring punk band. They're all probably a few years older than me, and all of them complain about their hearing. But here's the thing. While there was definitely some leaning in, lip reading, and the occasional asking for someone to repeat something, we all managed just fine and had a really lovely time. And I was the only one at the table wearing hearing aids. Okay, it was pretty much only me asking for things to be repeated, but still, I didn't feel left out of the conversation or anything. On video calls, I don earbuds or my trusty headphones, and I manage just fine, especially if I turn on live captioning. When my wife and I are alone in the car, I let her drive so that I can turn to face her when she talks, and I manage just fine. I ask her to repeat herself occasionally, but she's used to that, so she doesn't mind. Right, buddy? Why are you making that face? As I get closer to my date with the implant surgeon, I'm spending even more time with various online forums to soak in as much information as I can. And now I'm constantly coming across stuff like this. Whereas before, all I saw were the many success stories and people celebrating their climbing speech recognition scores, suddenly all the posts that are catching my eye these days are about frustration with slow progress, weird sounds, battery issues, Bluetooth issues, and the occasional person just wanting to give up on their implant entirely. So maybe I should stay where I'm at? I mean, I'm not totally deaf like so many cochlear implant recipients are. I'm in that relatively new group of candidates who want a ticket into the cochlear implant club because of the lower threshold of hearing loss required to be considered for one. And the closer it gets, the more seriously I find myself considering the consequences of my decision. The process for me has definitely shifted from what do I stand to gain by getting a cochlear implant to what do I have to lose? So I guess the smart thing for me to do would be to look at those 2 lists side by side and decide if one really does outweigh the other. On the what do I have to lose side, I have no guaranteed outcome. I may go from having a muffled ear with profound high-frequency hearing loss, but okay low frequencies that really work well with my right ear to create a binaural stereo world, to something much worse. My left ear may not currently present music to me with high fidelity, but at least it doesn't completely ruin it for me. But with this procedure, I may very well lose all of the hearing that I currently have in that ear and never progress beyond robot Darth Vader voices, boops, beeps, and noise, instead of clear voices and distinct musical pitches. The odds are slim that that's where I'll end up, but the odds are quite high that that will be my experience for at least a short while in the best case scenario. I'll probably have to put up with a lot of sonic unpleasantness before reaching the hearing promised land. That's just the reality of it, at least, probably. And here's what's on my what do I stand to gain side. Well, 1, a cool story. I've already been sharing this journey with family and friends, and everyone is super curious about it and excited for me. I even told a few strangers about it on a popular social media video sharing site. Okay, I'm going to let you in on a little secret that you may find hard to believe. I used to be cool. I know, but hear me out. I had a job that I loved that put me in touch with very interesting people and situations on a daily basis. But nowadays, not so much. Getting a cochlear implant is probably the most interesting thing going on in my life at the moment. I can't back out now. Okay, that's a really stupid reason to choose a life-changing surgery, so let's just scratch that one off right away. But if not a cool story, it is a cool project. I admit it, I'm fascinated by tech, and this is some pretty fascinating tech. I think I'm willing to experiment on myself and see where all this goes. There are plenty of stories of people who get an implant and a hearing aid for the other ear that work together, known as going bimodal, that swear by how much better they perceive their hearing to be. Some even say they're better off than normal hearing people because of the ability to stream phone calls and media in stereo directly into their devices. Maybe I'll be one of those people who really benefits from that. That'd be icing on the cake. Next on the list is a better ability to communicate in the future. I'm at an age where I'm still relatively healthy, and fingers crossed, have a few good years ahead of me to enjoy life with my wife, family, and friends. But now I get frustrated and even avoid some situations just because I know it's going to be difficult. If this thing can make that better, and if it takes some time, maybe even a year or two for my brain to adjust, I don't want to waste any of that time just waiting for my hearing to get even worse before diving into the cochlear implant pool. And since my unimplanted ear is still useful, even if not very good, I'm probably not really going to be any worse off than I am now. So that's a reason I can really get behind. When I sat down to put my thoughts together for this video, I honestly didn't know where I'd end up. But I think that going through this exercise has helped me firm up my decision. In about 8 days, for better or worse, I'm going to get a cochlear implant. I'll continue to let you know how it goes, so be sure to hit that little subscription thingy if you're at all curious about it. And now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'm going to go pop in my earbuds and go listen to all of my favorite music. It just might be the last time I ever hear it like this, for better or worse.